So today we've got an electric rechargeable handheld chainsaw from TROOZY. All right guys, I know this is a little bit different from the typical content that we have on the channel, but the way I looked at it is, who wouldn't want a cordless rechargeable handheld mini chainsaw? If you're like off grid or something like that, this would come in really handy. This would come in handy for anybody actually. So that's why I decided, yeah, let's go ahead and review it. All right, well, it comes in a fairly decent plastic case. We got the manual. We've got white gloves. I'm not sure why. I would use like a leather glove or something much more rugged. All right, we've got 2 batteries, 21 volts. 3 amp hour lithium ion. We've got a little charge indicator showing fully charged. That's awesome that you got 2 batteries. We've got a charger. Oh, okay. So it's got barrel jacks. It's got 2, so you can charge both batteries. So these, oh, I see, yeah. So the charge port's right there. Ah, we got a spare chain. And that's definitely a small chain. That is not your common chainsaw chain. So good thing that you got a spare one. That's very nice. I would expect that might be difficult to find, or maybe you could probably find them on Amazon or something. A paintbrush. I'm assuming that's to clean off the bar and chain whenever you're done. Oh, look at that. We've got a file so you can sharpen. The chain, but that looks a little too large for that chain. We'll check that. And then we've got a bar tool for loosening up these nuts, and that's usually for tensioning the bar and chain. And then we've got, okay, some kind of, I'm guessing for oil. So there's no automatic oiler on this. You're going to have to manually oil it. Probably would want to put some kind of synthetic oil in there that won't attack this plastic. And, well, I feel like this is going to leak everywhere, to be honest with you. All right, and then there's the chainsaw itself. There we go, the unveiling of the bar and chain. Oh, that's pretty neat. It's just like a little baby chainsaw. But it feels pretty good. I mean, it doesn't feel like the kind of plastic that's used like on a DeWalt or something. It does feel a little lower end, but I think it actually will be perfectly fine. I don't think it's just going to fall apart or anything. It feels solid enough. I think that would serve its purpose. These are for anti-kickback. And to help, I guess, to help keep your hand out of the chain and bar area. But don't make the mistake of holding on to this. This is very flimsy, and it's not a handle. You're actually, if you did this, it's going to break, and you're going to get your knuckles all up in that thing right there. If you're using this thing, I can tell you already, I'm very experienced with chainsaws. I grew up, my family business, we owned a tree service. So I grew up around chainsaws and using chainsaws back as far as I can even remember. So something like this, you definitely don't want to get this hand anywhere near. Do not hold anything like this. I wouldn't hold anything like this. I would keep this hand out of the way. If you have to put it somewhere, I'd put it somewhere back here, okay? Keep that hand out the way, or maybe even here, because that can help a little bit on any kind of kickback. And kickback happens whenever you nick, like say you plunge this in to a log or something like that, and it hits the tip. That's what happens, is it kicks back. And when it kicks back, it wants to lay over on your arm or your face or your shoulder or something like that. So yeah, keep this thing away from your body. Keep this hand out of this area, and you're probably pretty good. Now the other thing that I'm noticing too is the bar and chain is on the opposite side from where it normally is on a chainsaw. It's normally on this side, and that's because if you're cutting a tree, a limb off a tree, you're just on your right side. Most people are right-handed, so you're going to get flush up on that tree and trim that limb off. With it like this, you're going to have to come out kind of on an awkward side to get flush up against the tree. All right, well, let's plug in one of these batteries. Locks into place real nice. Let's give it a crank here. So it's got a safety switch. Looks like it goes both ways. So let's try this way. Okay, that's awesome. And it sounds like it has a stop. So like you see the chain immediately stop. Now that may be from the tension here, but it seems like the motor immediately stops when you let off the trigger. See that? If that's some kind of electronic brake, that's a great feature. So we'll check that as we're cutting stuff. As we cut stuff and this blade and this chain warms up, it's going to loosen up, and we'll see if it automatically brakes when we let off the trigger, because that'll be a great safety feature. Yeah, and it definitely works just like a regular chainsaw. The tensioner is here. So to tension that chain, you just loosen these two nuts, not all the way, just loosen them. And then you can turn this screw and it'll tension that chain up. So while we've got these loose, let's open this up. Okay, very simple. Plastic side here. Feels pretty rigid. This will be something that after you use it, I would take this off, and that's probably why they gave you this brush, and brush all this stuff out, because after you use it, there's going to be sawdust caked all up inside here. Pretty neat little unit. I gotta say, I feel like you don't want to like over torque these down, because this is just plastic. And then while we're here, let's look at this file. It would work. I think it's slightly big, because what's going to happen is if you sharpen this too much, you're going to end up knocking off this little hook on the teeth right there. It's going to end up being flat, because this is a little too large, and then it's not going to cut as good. All right, so enough of the talk. I've got an idea to test this thing right off the bat, but what I'm thinking here is this bush has got to go. And the reason why is I think I want to move this AC over there. Yeah, I'd really like it over here, because this is kind of my workbench area. This is where I'm doing reviews. This is where the big giant battery shelf is and the inverter that it's going to run off of. So if it's over here, it's in the perfect spot. It's going to cool me down, and we're going to allow it to run these batteries all the time. So yeah, I think this thing is going to come out. Now I've got bushes all the way across, so I'm not going to miss this one little guy here. All right, let's just take the whole thing out in one swoop, huh? Okay. Well, that was pretty effortless. Great. Here, I want to show you what the kickback is. See that? See, it's more of a left-hander though. If you're left-handed, this thing's perfect. See how you need to get down here like this. Wow, that's pretty beast. The other thing, if you're not familiar with chainsaws, do not get the chain in the dirt. Hitting the dirt is what dulls the chain out more than anything. Oh, that was sweet. So let's cut into this area right here where it's kind of a knotty spot. Yeah, pretty good. That's usually pretty rough on a chainsaw. Let's try this larger section. Yeah, really no problem. All right, let's try something even larger. Let's see if the blade even... Oh boy, look, that's pretty much the max. It barely sticks out the tip there. So let's see what we can do. I think I'm gonna get some clamps to put on there. All right, let's try it. Now, I wouldn't be cutting logs like this all day with this thing, but it will do it. It will do it. And that is 6 inches. Exactly 6 inches. Now, since we've done a couple of cuts, let's see. Yep, see the chain's looser? That's what happens. That's what it's supposed to do. It loosens up a little bit as it gets hot. Yeah, it definitely feels like there's kind of a braking mechanism in there. Let's try to start it again. And it stops immediately. Good. Oh yeah. And of course, this is all exciting for Power because he loves big logs to chew on and drag across the yard and bring into the house. So he's super excited that I'm sitting here, yep, chopping all this stuff up for him. Okay, watch out, buddy. Yeah, no problem, guys. All right, so I like this thing. Notice the chain right there? It's pretty loose right now. It's hot. So what you need to do is if you get this and you get your chain loose like that after you used it, let it cool down and it should go back into place. If it doesn't, if it's too loose, then loosen these two nuts up and then tighten this screw here, and it'll push the bar out and it'll tighten it up. Don't get it super tight. Just get it tight enough to where, you know, it stays inside the bar like that. I think that's going to be it for this thing right now. I really am going to use this. So if it breaks, if it bursts into flames or anything like that, I will let you know, because I am going to be using this thing. This is definitely not something I'm going to review and just throw in a box. I will put this to use, no doubt. All right, so leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Please let me know the danger level that you see in this thing. Let me know if you think it's safe, if you think it's something that you would use. Happy 4th of July. Catch you on the next one. I totally forgot to mention this has a brushless motor. So it says, I don't think you see, it says brushless right there. So you don't have the problem with, you know, your old DC motors used to have the brushes in them, and those brushes would wear out. This one that will not have that problem. You're probably going to have other things on this thing wear out before that motor. All right, catch you on the next one.